Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today's video is going to be a follow-up video to a video I dropped last week entitled, President of Benin Meets a Controversial French General. U.S. military relocating to Ivory Coast. Now, I don't know if it was this morning or last night, but, the good brother, the big homie, Ibrahim Traoré gave what seems to be a State of the Union address to the citizens of his nation. And in that discussion, he touched on a variety of topics. And one of those topics happened to be what I've been discussing on my channel in the past week or so. And that was the president of Benin meeting with the controversial French general who said that in the future, France and their Western allies must be ready to defend their interests on the African continent, even if that means utilizing the force of arms. And also, it is alleged that there are some clandestine French military bases in Benin also. And keep in mind, Benin shares a border with Niger and Burkina Faso. Now, the other day, I discussed the president of Ivory Coast, right? The president of Ivory Coast, 5-star Élysée boy, high-ranking Élysée boy. It was alleged that there could be possibly, maybe, a U.S. military base established in the northern section of the country, right on the border of Mali and Guinea. And to my surprise, actually, I'm not surprised. I really think that Ibrahim Traoré be watching the channel. I think that some of my videos that have garnered a lot of views, maybe I've gotten back to somebody that he knows, and then maybe I passed it on to members of his government that might have showed him a video or two. And I think that he's in tune, man. I think that he's in tune with the channel. Certain things that he says, especially the timing of it, it just really lines up with what I say. Maybe we're just on the same page, maybe great minds think alike, or maybe, them boys is in tune with what's happening in the streets. But anyways, regardless of that fact, I don't know when the speech was. It could have been this morning or last night, but Ibrahim Traoré, he called out the presidents of Benin and Ivory Coast. Take a look up on the screen. He said, "We have nothing against the Ivorian people, but we have something against those who rule Ivory Coast. There is indeed in Abidjan, that's the capital of Ivory Coast, an operation center to destabilize Burkina Faso. Nobody can tell us that in Benin there is no French base. There are indeed 2 French bases in Benin, and we have the proof. We have nothing against the Beninese people." Now, I just want to say, I appreciate the fact that he made the distinction. That's a mistake we commonly make, right? We have to understand that the actions of a government don't necessarily reflect the thoughts and the feelings of the people on the ground, right? Like, for example, when President William Ruto of Kenya had decided to send that multinational security force, and he went to Washington and he was doing the bidding of the West, I didn't indict the people of Kenya. The citizens of Kenya weren't sitting in those private meetings with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. That was the intentions and actions of President William Ruto. So we have to understand when we discuss politics to separate the government from the people, because many times, especially in these neo-colonial hotspots like Ivory Coast, the actions of the government does not necessarily reflect the thoughts and feelings and the wishes of the people. So we cannot indict the people for the actions of their incompetent leaders. Now, let's jump into the video, man. I'm going to play the clip from Ibrahim Traoré, and I'm going to come in and out of my commentary, man. He touched on a variety of topics. I think it's interesting. Let's get into it.
In an interview, we talked about the Ivorian regime. I'm saying this, and I insist and persist. We have nothing against the Ivorian people, but we have an issue with those who lead the Ivory Coast Agreement. We say it and we mean it. There are indeed in Abidjan an operation center to destabilize our country. No one can deny it, and we will prove it to you in the coming days. We will show you physical evidence. You will understand what we are talking about. No one will come and tell us that there isn't a French base in Benin directed against us. We have proof right here. And we have nothing against the people of Benin. Our issue is with the politics of Beninese leaders, and we say it loud and clear. In this diplomacy, we've decided to tell the truth. There are indeed 2 bases, one towards Kambi and the other towards Port Gauss, I don't know which locality. The tracks have been refurbished for over 3,000 meters long. Planes land, people ride, and they train terrorists there. We have audio recordings of French agents in Benin there who act as the hub for terrorist operations. They show the operations with them.
All right, we back. Now, like I mentioned in my last video, having a hostile force at your gates, it's not something that anybody wants. There's a reason why the United States doesn't want the Russian military to have any bases, any presence in this hemisphere. Not even at their borders, but in the hemisphere at large. Like, they don't even want them to be in this side of the world. And that's a logical position to maintain, because if you have a foreign force at your gates, a hostile force at your gates, right? We already know the United States and these Western nations are famous for coming up with any various pretexts to intervene in a foreign nation. And if your troops are already right there at a military base right on the border, then you could deploy your troops as soon as possible under any various fraudulent pretexts. Now, when it comes to the French and American military bases, I believe that they're in the region for surveillance. They say they are here to gather intelligence, to counter terrorism. That's the pretext they gave. We're fighting terrorism. We're keeping the world safe. Now, if you ask me, the biggest threat to the AES, the Alliance of Sahelian States, is if you have these Western military bases right at your gates, right at your borders, what's stopping them from supporting, financing, and arming certain rebel factions inside your country to destabilize your nation, right? All they got to do is go over the border and be supplied with the latest ammunition, the latest artillery, the latest equipment to go back over the border and cause terror. And then that's when you're going to go in the Western media and they're going to say, oh my God, 200 people murdered in a Burkina Faso village. Oh no. That's the type of deception we are dealing with. And that's why you're supposed to keep a foreign hostile military far away from your gates, far away from your borders. We've seen what happened in Libya. Now, listen, I don't give a damn about Libya. They over there selling black folks into slavery. But I'm saying that we've seen what the Western nations did in order to topple that regime in Libya at the time, Gaddafi's regime, right? They supported certain rebel factions, supplied them with weapons and ammunition to topple the government, right? So what's stopping them from posting up on your borders and, just supplying some random knuckleheads in the desert, to go back over the border, and then commit terror against your people or topple your government altogether? So listen, I would definitely advise the brothers, if you listen to the sound of my voice, definitely get your weapons up, get your military equipment up, man. Continue to purchase equipment, continue to arm your soldiers, understand the reality of the situation. You are at war both domestically and internationally, right? Domestically, because you got these brainwashed knuckleheads running around trying to commit terrorist acts. And also internationally, you have certain hostile forces praying and wishing on your downfall. So you got to stay on top of your toes, man. You got to stay on top of your toes. Anyway, let's continue.
Let's look at the history of some wars. You followed the Iraq War, a big lie that was fabricated, supposedly about possessing weapons of mass destruction. Some senators in the United States, they did everything to get the proof, but they didn't get it. Remember that several people resigned from the CIA after that war. Evidence was fabricated from all sides. Western intelligence services helped them fabricate evidence. And we remember that the same Niger was once accused by fabricating a false convention, a fake uranium sale contract to Iraq. It's the same process they tried to bring last time, supposedly for Niger to sell uranium secretly to Iran. This has already happened. They used this as a pretext. They had no proof. Even the United Nations eventually found there was no tangible evidence of weapons of mass destruction. But they had their objective. They needed to destroy Iraq. They destroyed Iraq. They created the Islamic State, just like they created the Taliban in the 80s. They armed them, equipped them, and then pretended to come and fight them. Understand the game. It's been going on for too long. We need to wake up and understand all of this, and that we become aware of our situation and fight for our future.
Now, in that section of the discussion, he spoke about what I mentioned earlier, how they could make up any random pretext they want, and because they have a stranglehold on the media, they're going to be taken as the gospel, whether it's true or false. It doesn't really matter, right? So they can make up any pretext they want. And when it comes to Ibrahim Traoré, we've already seen them begin to try to fabricate some type of pretext in order to discredit his regime already by saying that he's committing genocide against the people, he's killing the opposition, he's genociding the people, he's kidnapping his citizens, he's violating the sacred values of democracy and human rights. They've already began the slander campaign. They've already began to plant the seeds into the minds of the people. right? Of course, you got people like me pushing back against it and deconstructing those narratives, but still, the common, everyday person isn't going to dig too deep into these certain things like I do. They're simply going to read the headlines, read the article sponsored by the State Department, and they're going to take it as the gospel truth. That's the reality. Of course, somebody like me, I'm going to sit back and ask questions. I'm going to say, okay, who published this article? What organization are they using as a source? When they say, oh, our sources on the ground, our sources told us. I'm the type of person, okay, who's the source, right? Where's the source based? Is it an African source? Is it a European source? Is it an American Western source? Who's the source, right? What's the organization that put out this claim? Are they credible? Who's the head of this organization? I'm the type to ask those questions, but its average person ain't asking those questions, bro. And I love what he said. He spoke about how recently there was some propaganda put out in the Western media that said that Niger was covertly selling uranium to Iran. And of course, who are their sources? Some undisclosed U.S. official. You know what I mean? So it's always some mysterious white dude. That's their source. Our sources at the State Department told us. A confidential anonymous U.S. official told us. You know what I mean? Oh, this American think tank told us. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. They never have any African sources on the ground. Like, it's always some white man far away from the country. I never understand why that's taken as the gospel. But anyway, like I said, nobody asks questions or digs deep into, nobody digs into the second and third layer of questioning. But anyway, let's continue.
Because wherever you are, despite the recruitment, there is always a need for soldiers. Throughout Burkina Faso, some villages continue to request military presence. So there is a need to keep recruiting and equipping. And I can assure you that we are on this trajectory. Since January 2023, we have been able to launch an equipment program. It's true, the world is crazy, there's war everywhere. No nation takes its equipment and makes it to sell to you, which caused these pieces of equipment to be delayed for almost 18 months. But the first ones have started to arrive, as you noticed last time. And the equipment will keep coming because we want the level of our army reached an unprecedented level in the sub-region.
Once again, shout out to the AES. Quiet is kept. They're heavily arming themselves. They're investing a large amount of the national budget into their military defense. And like I said, man, I think that black men must be militarized. I think every black nation must have military spending at the top of the agenda. Because without security, you can't engage in commerce. Without security, there could be no investment. Without security, there can be no business. Without security, there can be no development. You must establish your security first before you can focus on other things. If you are not secure, whatever you build will easily be destroyed. Now, let's continue.
Because despite your contributions, as I was saying earlier, certain powers refused to sell us equipment and blocked the equipment we bought in some countries because they have the license for certain components. And this power exploits minerals in Burkina Faso. I say it here loud and clear solemnly. This will stop. We will withdraw operating licenses in the morning or night.
All right, we back. Now in that section, Ibrahim Traoré once again echoed the sentiments of the Malian foreign minister, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who said the same thing. Western nations simply refuse to sell weapons to African nations. They're not going to share the latest military technology with African nations so they can be well equipped and well armed. And he mentioned something else that we didn't hear before. He said not only are they not selling it to you, but they're also actively trying to block the delivery of weapons that you try to purchase from other nations, right? So if you decide to shop around to different distributors, different suppliers, not only are they not going to sell it to you, but they're going to actively try to block and sabotage the delivery from making it to the destination. Bruh. Listen, man, bruh. Oh my God. Listen, man. So essentially, I'm not sure the loophole they use to engage in this. I'm assuming I guess they have the patent or the license. I guess maybe some of this technology is created in Western companies. I don't know. But yeah, so apparently Ibrahim Traoré says they actively try to sabotage the delivery of certain weapon systems from arriving in the AES. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Like, how dare you stop me from arming myself? How dare you? How dare you? You know what I mean? Like, bro, how dare you? That's how you know, bro. That's how you know they some haters, man. That's how you know it's just pure hate. They just hate. Like, at this point, you a hater, man. At this point, you a hater. If I spend my hard-earned money on something, how dare you come from wherever you come from to block the delivery, to block the shipment? Yo, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Under the guise of, oh, that's my intellectual property. Yo, Yo, we are really at war, bro. We are really at war. Nous sommes en guerre. It's not a game, bro. But I love what he said, right? I love what he said. He said these same nations are actively trying to exploit the mineral resources of our nations, right? So he said, listen, two could play at that game, bro. Listen, you don't want to sell us the weapons? Fine. Just know we're going to revoke that license. We're going to revoke those mining license. You remember what General Langley said? The general in the U.S. Marines, you heard what he said. We are in Africa for access and influence. Access to the mineral resources, the mining concessions, and to influence the behaviors of African governments. So Ibrahim Traoré said, listen, two can play at that game, brother. You know what I'm saying? Two can play at that game. We can revoke those mining concessions, right? And that's what Niger been doing. You know, quiet as kept. They've been talking about that. Take a look up on the screen. I made a video about this one. France loses an operating license at a major uranium mine in Niger. One of the biggest uranium mines in the world, right? And a couple of days ago, not a couple of days ago, but like last week, Canada, apparently a Canadian company, was stripped of their mining rights also in Niger, right? So listen, two can play at that game. You know, two can play at that game. I don't even know why Canada even had mining concessions. Man, what president gave a mining right to Canada? You see, but that's that good old Western democracy. You know, the Western democratically elected leaders get into power and they give it up mining concessions to Canada. Let's continue.
You can't take advantage of the resource and refusing to sell us equipment, blocking our equipment. We will not accept it. If they linger, we will get our exploitation permits and exploit it ourselves.
We back. Yeah, we back. Now, I just want to say, because I really do believe it at this point. Listen, hey, big dog, Ibrahim, if you listening to the channel, I got love for you, big bro. I got love for you. You know what I'm saying? I got love for you. You know, send your boy, you know what I'm saying? Send your boy some support, man. Send your boy, you know, Cash App, PayPal in the description. You know, send it to a third party if you got to. Show some support, man. You know, we rocking with you over here. We rocking with you over here, big bro. I know you got it. I know you got the money, bro. I know you got the money, man. I know you got it. You know, so I'm messing with you, bro. I'm messing with you. I got love for you, big bro. Got love for you, man. Anyways, it's your boy Nevercard. That's Elaine back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the album, man. Support the album. Peace.
No. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wife. Yeah, hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Back in my city, they loving me. Standing alone, I'm 100 deep. Enemy plotting and still in reach. They trying to make sure that we underneath. Trying to make sure that we never make it. Coming for power, come get acquainted. Coming for everything that I wanted. Feeling like Drake, but I really wrote it. Feeling like Kendrick, I'm checking names. Gotta roll up while I go insane. Got so much stress, I been gained weight. Stuffing these racks in this Louis case. One thing for certain, I'm about to check. Keep it 100 and nothing less. Stick with the family since day one. Had to stay down till my day come. Had to stay down, but I'm never patient. Hop on the mic and I'm motivated. Hop on the mic and I drop a classic. Haters can't see me, they copping glasses. Back in the studio making magic. Got a new tape and it's in production. Back on my business, I got a budget. Staying low key when I'm out in public. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wife. Yeah, hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news.